awesome guest today is Bola. So Bola is someone that I connected with. Again, someone I met actually before Bola even came to the country. So this is the importance of being very active on LinkedIn, folks. You get to meet amazing people from all over the world. And you know what? I can't understand people who say you should only connect with people in your own city or people in your own community and stuff like that. You have to be open, folks. You got to connect with people all over the world, right? And today, and again, today's amazing guest is Bola, and Bola is a Scrum Master and Agile coach, and he's a multi-award-winning Agile and business transformation consultant, speaker, trainer, and coach. Very dynamic guy with experience across North America, Europe, and Africa. And he has experience working in business analysis, project portfolio management, and change management. And his most recent experience has been working as a Scrum Master and Agile coach, right? And for organizations such as Bell Canada, Allstream, and Sonnet. He's also been involved with a number of Agile business and digital transformation programs, right? And he's the co-founder of Helping Other People Succeed. Amazing organization, folks, and we're gonna We're gonna have Bola speak about this organization at the end. But I have personally been a part of one of their events as a speaker. Awesome community, awesome crowd, awesome audience. Great organization to get involved with. So we're gonna speak about that at, probably later on in the segment. And again, Helping Other People Succeed is H.O.P.S, an initiative that supports career and mindset transformation of professionals in 10 countries. So great organization, great, exciting guests, folks. Make sure everyone give Bola a warm welcome in the comments. And what I love about Bola, he's a high energy guy. He's a high energy, positive energy. So I expect all of my viewers, all of my audience, I want everyone to bump their energy up because Bola's a very, again, very positive, enthusiastic guy. And everyone give him a warm welcome in the comments. And I'm going to bring Bola in shortly here as soon as I figure out this thing. And here we go. Bola, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot for having me. Hi, everyone, from wherever you're joining from. I can see my guys representing from Nigeria.
Yes, Nigeria's in the house.
From all over the world, man. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day all over the world. And thank you so very much, Dean, for setting up this platform and enlightening people, adding positively to professionals all over the world. I get a lot of feedback from folks that we connect with, not just in Toronto, not just in Ontario, not just in Canada, from all over the world, man. So it's a real privilege and honor for me to be here with you.
Right. Thank you so much, Bola. And thanks so much. Appreciate that. We got a whole bunch of people giving you shout outs, Bola. We got Obi. We got, thanks so much for the warm welcome, everyone. Really appreciate that. Bola spending, his personal time out of his schedule to speak to all of us about this space, this exciting space that he's in, to help all of you that might have your own questions about Scrum and the role of a Scrum Master. So thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in, and I appreciate the positive welcome for Bola. So Bola, before we get into the actual questions, did I miss anything about you? Anything else you want to tell the viewers about yourself and your experiences?
Well, nothing biggie. So
Okay.
recently I was nominated for the RBC Top 25 Canadian Immigrants Award. And in my head, when I looked at the list, I was like, what's happening? Where is Dean, man? This is title big here, man. I'm talking to you like I'm telling you. Like I was like, come on, if you really want to talk about people impacting positively in the community, professionally, we should be talking about Dean, but anyways, there's
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Another time. There's another time next year, man.
For sure, absolutely. And I don't know if I think the voting is closed, but I did vote for you, Bola.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
No worries. Okay, so Bola, I mean, before we get into talking about the actual role of a Scrum Master, for the non-IT viewers, if you can explain what exactly is Scrum. And before you start, Bola, actually, just for the viewers, a heads up, folks, any questions you have about Scrum or Scrum Masters, any career questions you have, feel free to put it in the comments. I will have Bola respond to the questions later on in the segment. But any questions you have, feel free to put it in the comments, and we're going to get this thing rolling. So back to the question, Bola. Yeah, if you can, before we get into talking about the Scrum Master, can you explain to everyone and even the non-IT viewers, what exactly is Scrum?
Absolutely. I get this question a lot. What exactly is Scrum? So as against just defining Scrum, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what Scrum is. And I'm going to start from how Scrum started.
Okay. Okay.
So in 1986, two great guys, two great Asian guys, management professionals, experts, gurus in the management field, did an extensive work in 1986 and released a paper called The New Product Development Game.
Mm.
And in the paper, actually, the paper was the first time where Scrum was referenced. And from their study, they realized that a lot of organizations that have achieved some bit of stability and some bit of speed had three things in common. The first thing that they had in common was they had smaller teams working on products between 3 to 9. Smaller teams
Right.
working on product. Two, they also realized that when organizations, when leadership, when management gives this team a challenge, an objective, they deliver better and faster than if they gave them tactical activities.
Mm.
Also, they realized that from their session, from their research, they realized that when you allow this team to self-organize, when you allow them to take their own decision, when you allow them to decide on their own approach at solving problems, they get better and then they deliver faster to their customers.
Mm.
Lastly, they realize that when you have people working on smaller things, they deliver better and faster than if they had a lot of things that they're working on at the same time. And they
Interesting.
liken that experience to Scrum in rugby.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was the original, that was the origin of Scrum. Then in
Mm.
1993, Jeff Sutherland, one of the forefathers of Scrum, took the concept from the new product development game paper and applied it to a project he was working on.
Mm.
And he saw that they achieved a lot of positive results by applying some of the concept in the paper to a project he was working on. And then in 1995, he met with his friend Ken Schwaber, and then they formalized the Scrum process. So,
Right.
what then is Scrum? Scrum is a framework that is applied to projects or engagement that are complex and adaptive. You will understand that there are two kinds of processes. If you're working on a project, so if you're working on a project, there are projects that you can identify and define everything that you need to do at the beginning and nothing will change.
Mm.
And there are also some projects that you may not really be able to define everything until you try some things and you learn from those things and you use the learning to improve on the next step of things. So Scrum is used for projects, programs, products, and engagement that are complex,
Mm.
but that are adaptive and is based on empirical process control. Is used to develop product, project, and other work
Right.
by allowing people to try things, learn from the experiments, and use the learning to improve on the way they do work. So,
Got it.
in a nutshell, Scrum is a framework that is people centric, that is used to solve complex adaptive problems.
Okay, amazing explanation. That was. I mean, I can't. It's very easy to understand the way that you explained it. So appreciate that, Bola. Now,
Absolutely.
Bola, I'm assuming that going by this definition, the way you explained it, Scrum is not restricted only to IT. Is that correct?
Very correct. And I'll tell you why. Um, Originally, it started with software development,
Hmm.
but its application has been extended beyond software development.
Okay.
I've worked in telecoms, I've worked in retail, I've worked in insurance, and I've worked as a Scrum Master, and I've seen Scrum being applied to those sectors.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Right. Yeah, so I guess going from Scrum, Bola, like, so how did the role of a Scrum Master really come about, and was it kind of a recent thing, or and what is the purpose of a Scrum Master?
Good question. So,
Okay.
because Scrum is a framework, it's totally different from the way organizations used to work. So when an organization wants to adopt Scrum and implement Scrum as a way of work in the organization, and because it's also kind of new to that organization, they will need someone who understands Scrum,
Mm-hmm.
the mindset, the values, the principles, the practices of Scrum. They will need that individual to come into the organization and help in adopting and in practicing Scrum. And that's where the Scrum Master comes in. So the Scrum Master is an individual who understands the fundamental principles and values of Scrum and the processes of Scrum, and who is able to help teams and organizations in the adoption, in the practice, and in the use of Scrum to deliver whatever work they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it as I'm trying to learn how to drive. Learning to drive is new to me. I need
Yeah.
someone who understands the techniques of driving, who understands this, who knows the skills of driving, to come in to teach me, to mentor me, to coach me on how to drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what a Scrum Master does to an organization that is adopting Scrum or that is practicing Scrum.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, another question I was really dying to ask you, Bola, is that now as a recruiter, right? So I recruit in the IT space, and what I have noticed is whenever I'm recruiting for a Scrum Master role or any role requiring Scrum, I always simultaneously I hear about Agile. So can you describe, like, is that just a coincidence, or is there a relationship between Scrum and Agile? Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. So look at Scrum as a state.
Mm.
An organization wants to continue to operate in a state. One, a state of speedily delivering value, a state of managing and responding to change, a state that drives collaboration. But they will need like a framework, they will need like a method to operate in that state.
Got
So
it. Okay.
Agile is a state. Scrum is one of the ways that organizations, teams can practice or be in that state. I use
Mm.
another example. I want to be healthy. I want to be physically fit. That's a
Right.
state that I want to be in. And there are several methods, there are several frameworks that I can take to be healthy, to be physically fit. I can either start playing soccer or I can start doing yoga.
Mm.
The state of being physically fit and healthy is agile, being
Oh,
agile.
okay.
While exercising by doing yoga is a framework, is a method, is Scrum.
Ah,
Another
got
person
it.
can
Okay.
say, "Oh, you know what? I don't want to play soccer. I don't want to go to gym. I just want to do I just want to do yoga."
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have several frameworks that are used to achieve the state of agility. So Agile has several frameworks under its umbrella, and Scrum is one of those frameworks.
I love that analogy. That was such a fantastic analogy. I mean, for I'm pretty sure the non-IT. I mean, most of the people tuning in are definitely people from tech who understand it. But for the non-tech people, that was a beautiful example, Bola. I really appreciate that. Now, just before we move ahead to the next question, so someone asked, "Will this be shared after it's done?" Yeah, absolutely. So to whoever asked that question, you can watch the replay after it's done. And we have a comment here from Renu. Renu, nice to see you here. So Renu says most people get confused with that. It can get applied to IT only. So I guess in terms of Scrum not being applicable only to IT. So I appreciate your comment, Renu. I mean, Bola, in regards to a Scrum Master, what does the typical day of a Scrum Master look like?
Good question. So there is really no, you can have as a Scrum Master, your typical day varies based on a number of things. One, based on the day of the week or the day that you're in the sprint.
Mhm.
One. Also, your typical day will be influenced by things like the number of teams that you are supporting.
Right.
Or you can also be influenced by the state of adoption of the organization with respect to Scrum. But typically, if I'm to give an umbrella explanation, what I will say is, so my day as a Scrum Master starts with getting coffee. I love coffee a lot. Is getting coffee, looking at my calendar to see what ceremonies I have. Someday it might just be daily Scrum,
Right.
which is usually the first sort of ceremony that we have during the day. Another day, for example, if it's the end of the sprint, I might be preparing for sprint review and sprint retrospective, for example. But my typical day starts by understanding what I have in my schedule. And also at the end of once I have that daily scrum, I then go into my organization, into my team to say, okay, what are the things that you're working on and where do you need my help?
Right.
Some days I find myself spending time helping to remove an impediment or something that is protecting the team from advancing. Another time I find myself organizing workshops for other teams or for the leadership of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Another day I might find myself working with the team, facilitating some of their ceremonies, maybe backlog refinement or not. So what I'm trying to say is there's really no, the days are sort of different depending on
Right.
where we are in the sprint, or the product that we're working on, or what the challenge is at that time.
So very, very dynamic, very dynamic
Dynamic,
role.
absolutely.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And so, going from there, Bola, again, as a Scrum Master, and being a Scrum Master yourself, how does one define success as a Scrum Master?
This is a very interesting question, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
why.
Okay.
As a Scrum Master, you're not accountable or responsible for delivery.
Mm.
Your responsibility is to support the team
Right.
in delivery and also to improve the maturity of the team. So, how do you measure success as a Scrum Master? I see myself as a successful Scrum Master when my team, the team that I'm supporting, when they don't need me.
Ah, interesting.
That's one.
Interesting.
It means that I've been able to support the team and build the team to a state that they are self-organizing, that they are self-reliant, and they are self-directing. So
Hmm.
that's one. Secondly, I will see myself as a successful Scrum Master if I see the team that I support constantly and continuously delivering value to the customers or to the users or to the business. I will see myself as a successful Scrum Master if I see the team that I am supporting constantly improving on their delivery.
Right.
So my success is reflective of the team's performance and the organization's maturity in adopting Scrum.
Got it. So it's, very much tied up with the successes of the organization, the team. Uh, would you tied into your success as a Scrum Master from what you're saying? Right. Right. Okay. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. And Bola, like, what are some of the key challenges one faces as a Scrum Master? Like, if you could pick, some of the main challenges or typical challenges, which might be of interest or that some of the viewers might be experiencing themselves, and how do you suggest these challenges are tackled?
So the biggest challenge to any change initiative is the culture
Hmm.
of the organization. Remember, to a lot of organizations, adopting or practicing Scrum is a new thing. You're trying to challenge legacy thinking, legacy practice.
Hmm.
You're trying to introduce new things, new ways of working to the organization. And as a Scrum Master, your responsibility is to promote the adoption and promote the values and the principles of Agile and Scrum. And you have people in the organization that have been for the past 5, 10, 15 years used to a particular way. So one of the challenges is changing the culture of the organization.
Hmm.
Another challenge, which is very big, is leadership. Leadership likes the benefit of adopting Scrum, but they're not really committed to seeing the implementation, the real implementation of Scrum in organizations. Third challenge will be for individuals, particularly individuals who've occupied a managerial position for a long time.
Mhm.
Now you're redesigning the organization, because for you to adopt Scrum, you need to redesign the organization. You're changing the organization from hierarchical structure to a flat structure.
Yeah.
You're removing job titles. You're removing and decomposing reporting structure. And that will threaten a lot of people's control, a lot of people's power, if you will. So, as
Mhm.
Scrum Master, when you're going into an organization newly, these are some of the challenges that you will face. How do you tackle them? First, coaching. One of the things that I have done in several places that I've worked is to look around for case studies, successful case studies of organizations that were in the same structure that the organization was in, and have adopted Scrum, and the values that they've got from adopting Scrum, and how they've responded to the change, how they've responded to the change. So I bring in those case studies and I say, see, this organization was doing exactly what we were doing about 4 years ago, about 5 years ago. Now they adopted Scrum and they redesigned their organization.
Right.
And those case studies also have challenges. And I read it to them. Secondly, I do a lot of workshops, I do a lot of enlightenment, I do a lot of sensitization.
Mhm.
Lastly, I always come from the angle of the pain point. We're trying to adopt change. We're trying to adopt Scrum because we see limitations in the current way that we're working. Now, if we don't respond, if we don't change the way we work, we are still going to continue to have and experience these limitations. And we know how much this is costing us.
Yeah.
And nobody experiences change without adjustment, cultural and structural adjustment to the composition of the organization. And
Got it.
lastly, let people, drive people to take ownership of those changes as a Scrum Master.
Okay, love that, Bola. So, and to for your final point, what you're basically saying is when you do that, I guess people feel more involved in the process of change as well. I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You let people take ownership, you involve them, you carry them along, you let them see the pain in the current process and the value that they will get when they move to being agile or adopting Scrum and practicing and using Scrum.
Got it. Got it. Okay, love that. Love that. And in terms of, and I guess you kind of mentioned this already, Bola. But what would you say are some of your recommended best practices for Scrum Masters? Anything you can add to that?
Um, so first is so Scrum has several practices, roles, and the rules that bind them together.
Mm,
What I will say is first understand that change is difficult.
right.
Best practice, identify the small changes that you can start implementing. Don't wait till you have buy-in for massive change. Start implementing small changes and start
Mm,
celebrating results that you're getting from small changes.
all right. Okay. Take small bites first. That's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Small, incremental delivery of change.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. And folks, for those of you watching, I do see we have a lot of comment questions here, so I will be getting around to the questions shortly. We're definitely gonna put Bola in the hot seat, right? So just give
There
me a
is
few
a
moments. So just we'll get to the questions shortly. Now, Bola, like, what are some common mistakes you see Scrum Masters make, and what are your suggestions on that?
Oh, great. One big mistake that I've seen new Scrum Masters make is one, trying to impose new ideas and changes on the team. This is what a lot of Scrum Masters, new Scrum Masters, this is one of the mistakes that they make.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they get into the organization without understanding how the organization currently runs their processes.
Mm.
They want to start implementing changes right there and then.
Okay, okay.
So one of the things that my technique or my principle is a threefold principle. The first is observation. The second is conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
then the third is recommendation. When I get into an organization,
Nice.
the first 1, 2 weeks, I'm just observing how they're running their ceremonies, how they're doing their practices. I'm just observing. I'm not saying, okay, so from now on, this is how we're going to be doing this. No, that's not how to implement change. That's not how to be an effective Scrum Master. For the first 1, 2 weeks, I'm just observing.
Mm-hmm.
From my observation, I notice some things that are not being done right.
Right. Okay.
And the next thing is I start having conversation with them. And my conversation is not to say, hey, you're not doing this right, you should start doing it this way. My conversation is takes a coaching format. So, hey, Dean, I noticed that during your daily scrum, you spent more than 15 minutes, right? Or why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, because we need to go into a lot of details about, oh, right. Do you think there is another ceremony that you can use for that detail? Oh, we don't. From my conversation, I will know that one, there's a there's a limitation in their knowledge,
Right.
like they don't understand it. When I say, okay, so I see you doing this, what kind of value are you getting from this? Oh, well, we kind of deliver like 80%. Do you think there are ways that you can improve your delivery? Oh, yeah, absolutely. What are the ways that you think we can improve our delivery? Do you think if you do this? When I go from that angle as a coach, and I see they're still not getting, I can then step in as a mentor to say, oh, I used to work with Bell and we're doing exactly the same thing. And then the team decided to try new things. And this was one of the things
Mm.
that they tried, and this was the value that they got from it. Do you think we might want to try that?
Right.
What are the things? And they say, oh, I'm not sure. What are the things that you think will help us to try those new things? What are the things that we need to be able to try those new things? And when I'm done with conversation, then I now have my recommendation.
Mm.
And the recommendation will be taken through all the people on the team or in the organization. They have to see that, yes, those were the problems that we had, and we believe in the recommendation. And then I support them in implementing those recommendations. So Scrum
Right.
Masters, you don't want to go in and start changing things.
Mm.
You want to work with the team to identify those challenges, those problems, and work with them also to identify opportunities for improvement and support the adoption and the support them in actually implementing those recommendations. You're a change enabler. You're not really a change driver.
Okay.
The change is owned by the organization. You're just to support them.
Got it. Got it. So what you're saying, Bola, is major mistakes. New Scrum Masters do is they just rush right in. They're like, yeah, you need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. So what you're recommending, yeah, and I guess what your recommendation, your recommendation is your three steps, which you mentioned was observation, conversation,
And
and
then
then recommendation. I
don't
love
jump
that. Yeah.
recommendation straight. You
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to know why people do what they do. You
Got it.
want to help them to see that there are better ways of doing it. And based on your knowledge, based on your experience, you can then say, do you want to consider these new ways?
Mhm.
People will not change until they see a problem in the current state.
Mhm. Got it. Now, Bola, quick follow up question regarding that, and I'm sure it's possible that sometimes when you're in the conversation stage, the end user or the stakeholder, they might not be consciously aware of maybe a pain point they have or something they're doing inefficiently. So, would you say that you have to also ask the right questions to uncover that? so that they
Absolutely.
themselves, right.
Absolutely. So a Scrum Master wears six hats.
Right.
A Scrum Master is a coach.
Mhm.
A coach asks powerful, logical questions that will help the team to unearth problems and also help them to come up with opportunities to solve those problems by themselves.
Mhm.
So, on one hand, a Scrum Master is a coach. On the other hand, a Scrum Master is a mentor who has experience, who has knowledge, and is able to recommend some improvement opportunities or suggest some improvement opportunities. A Scrum Master is also a facilitator. A Scrum Master is a teacher. A Scrum Master is not a manager. You see, particularly from people that come from being a project manager to being a Scrum Master, the mentality of management still follows them. So they
Mhm.
think, yeah, I have to manage you. No. So for new Scrum Masters, you're not a team leader, you're not a team manager. You're using the servant leadership mindset, but you're there to support the team.
Right.
You can mean by mentoring, by coaching, by teaching, by facilitating, but you are not the leader of the team.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Love that. So, I mean, speaking about the career path, Bola, I mean, how does one become a Scrum Master? You know, for those viewers who might be interested in this career path, how does one become a Scrum Master? What are the qualifications and requirements? What type of experience should they gather, if any? Can you tell the viewers about that?
Absolutely. And one thing that my belief is there is nothing that anybody cannot do. All you need is the right mindset.
Mhm.
All you need is the right mindset. So, for anyone to transition from any other role to a Scrum Master role, one, you need to really understand Scrum because you're going to be supporting organizations in adopting, practicing, and maturing in Scrum. So, you
Mhm.
need to understand Scrum. Also, you need to understand the profile of a Scrum Master. A Scrum Master is not a manager. I'm not saying there are bad things about managers. I'm just saying that as a Scrum Master, you need to have the right mindset. Certifications also help. And I'll talk about certifications. I did that a little, but I'll talk about certifications. And this is my recommendation. Um, there are three kinds of certifications that you can take to be able to get into the Scrum space, to be able to start working as a Scrum Master. You can take a certification from Scrum Alliance, and that's a Scrum Master, Certified Scrum Master, CSM. You can take a certification from Scrum.org, the Professional Scrum Master, PSM. Or you can take a certification from Project Management Institute. That
Mhm.
sort of covers beyond Scrum. It's a PMI ACP, Agile Certified Practitioner. The certifications are good. They help you. But the mindset, the right mindset, the knowledge of Scrum, these are the most important things that you need as a Scrum Master or to get into a Scrum Master. I've seen people who used to be developers and now Scrum Masters. I've seen people who used to be business
Mhm.
analysts and now Scrum Masters. I've seen people who used to be HR executives and now Scrum Masters. I see people who used to be project manager and now Scrum Masters. All you need is to understand the frame that you need to be in, the skill set, communication, coaching, mentoring, facilitating,
Right.
teaching. These are the skills that you need to be able to operate or to be able to work as an effective Scrum Master. The tools are also good, the tools like Jira, tools like Confluence and all. These are also good, but more importantly, it's the mindset. those soft skills, these are things that are needed to be able to succeed as a Scrum Master. And also, you need to understand change, human and behavioral psychology.
Mm. Right, because you're dealing with people like 100% of the time.
100% of the time, you're dealing with people, you are dealing
Yeah.
with leadership, you are dealing with culture.
Hmm.
And you need to arm yourself with that understanding, human and behavioral psychology, understanding of Scrum and the Scrum framework, the values and the practices of Scrum
Gotcha.
for you to be able to work as a Scrum Master effectively.
Gotcha. So Bola, I mean, in terms of the evolution, or from that respect, do you see the role of a Scrum Master changing or evolving in the short term, or even in the long term? What are your thoughts on that?
I personally think that Agile and Scrum will still be around for a long time,
Mhm.
particularly because of the recent happening. A lot of organizations are starting to, one, pivot or starting to change their legacy processes because they've seen a lot of limitation in that.
Right.
So, what I strongly believe is Agile is going to be around for a while. Scrum is the most popular framework in Agile. It's also going to be around for a while. I see the Scrum Master role being around for a while, and I see the Scrum Master role getting into Agile coaching and also executive coaching.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think it's going to be gone anytime soon.
Right. It's here to stay. It's here to stay.
I think it's a lot
Awesome.
of organizations are now, given what's happened right now, a lot of organizations are now redesigning their structure and their culture and their processes.
Mhm.
They're now understanding the importance of flexibility, the importance of responding to change, the importance of speed to market, the
Right.
importance of engaging and collaborating with the user community, all the customers.
Mhm. Got it. Fantastic, Bola. Great information. And folks, I do see the questions. We're going to get into the questions shortly. But before we get to that, Bola, and just to let all of you know, like Bola is very active on social media. I follow him on LinkedIn and also on Instagram as well. And he does these really nice, very concise videos he's been doing. And we're going to have him speak about those shortly. But Bola, can you tell the viewers more about, I guess, your new venture and your training program and how you can help Scrum Masters or just individuals through your services?
Absolutely. Thank you so very much for giving me
My
this
pleasure.
opportunity
My
to.
pleasure.
This is like free advertisement.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Um, so 2 years ago, when I got into the country, um, I was somewhat lucky. I got started almost immediately, but I spoke with a lot of people, and the story was sort of different.
Mm.
A lot of people had challenges integrating their career into the Canadian market. A lot of people had challenges getting the right gigs. A lot of people actually thought that they were not going to be able to kickstart their career, and they settled for some other gig. So myself and my co-partner got together, and we started a social enterprise called Helping Other People Succeed.
Mm.
Because really and truly, your career defines your social status.
Yeah.
When people meet you, like, hey, hi, Dina, what's it going? What do you do? Where do you work?
Yeah.
Right. Number two, if you're not settled in your career, it will affect every other part of your life. So we created this platform called Helping Other People Succeed, where we help professionals, particularly immigrants into the country, where we help them to, one, first of all, change their mindset that you can come into this country from wherever and literally start from where you left off from your country,
Mm.
managerial position or level. You do not necessarily have to get on some jobs before you then transition to your real. So one, you can be anything that you want to be. And secondly, transforming their career. Some people will get into this country and they will realize that, hey, you know what I was doing before in my home country was really great there, but it started different here. So I need to understand the next level of my career, that kind of thing. So we also help with that. And we help by providing mentoring and all of this free, pro
Mm.
bono, mentoring, coaching, resume critique, job readiness assessment, online info sessions, and all of those things. And
Wow, that's amazing.
we've got a lot of testimonials. I share one with you, very, very, very dear to my heart. Last year, there was a lady that someone introduced me to. She had made up her mind. She'd been around for close to 6 months. She hadn't gotten anything. And she had said to herself, next month, I'm going to pack my bag and I'm going to move back to India. It
Wow.
seems like I cannot succeed in Canada. I'm going back home. And when the person introduced me to her, we got talking. It's like, you know what? Do you believe that you can succeed here? Do you believe that you can be whatever it is that you want to be in this country? This country gives you a lot of opportunity. Do you think so? She started by saying, I don't really think so. I've been here for over 5 months. I haven't really got something. And then we started working with a mindset, started changing her mindset. In November, she got a gig with one of the banks,
Wow.
and she's here right now. So this is
Wow.
some of the testimonials that we get. This is some of the feedback that we get, and this is one of the things that keep us going. And we have several other projects several other initiatives that we run, like Fireside Chat, where we bring thought leaders and industry experts to come and share tips. We had Dean
Yes,
last
yes.
month, and it was powerful. It was great. One person was planning, was was preparing for interview, and she reached out to me and like, you know what, you better join this session. She joined the session. She got a lot of tips from that session. She went for the interview. She was successful. She moved to the final stage.
Oh,
She
wow.
said to me, you know what, I got a lot of things from that. We brought someone else, Katija, about making your LinkedIn profile really professional. So we have a lot of. We just launched another initiative, actually, another initiative called GoPro, where we're supporting 43 people, 43 professionals to get their PMP, their CAPM, and their CBAP certification by providing free training,
Wow.
free mentoring, free coaching, support in applying for the exam, and also free material. So these are some of the things that we do, and we get support from several people like Dean and other people.
Absolutely.
You can check that. It's H.O.P.S, helping other people succeed. HOPSglobal.org. Thank you.
No problem. My pleasure. And folks, yeah, I'm just gonna put the hopsglobal.org, Bola. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Let me just add that to the screen so people can see it. So that's the website. Make sure you check it out, folks. Great resources, and you can get involved. So check that out for more information. Again, as Bola mentioned, I have been involved as a speaker at one of their events. Great events, so much great information, and they're consistently inviting people. I know Khatija as well. I think she was the recent guest. So shout out to Khatija,
Absolutely.
who posts about LinkedIn profiles and information regarding that. So make sure you get involved, folks. Make sure you check it out for more information. And Bola, in terms of people who want to connect with you, like I know you're obviously very active on LinkedIn, which is where we first connected. But what's the best way for people to connect with you, Bola, and stay in touch?
It's got to be LinkedIn. So my name is Bola Adesope on LinkedIn. You can also connect with me on Instagram. It's Bola Adesope, or on Twitter, Bola Adesope. Just one thing about LinkedIn: if you are not active on LinkedIn, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's a
Yeah.
professional network. I met Dean even before I got into the country. I reached out to him even before I got into the country, and he was one of the most responsive people I've met. Like, he just said, "Oh, sure, I don't have a role right now, but hey, keep in touch when you get into the country." And then we've been he's been great support since then. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Bola Adesope. You can find me on Instagram, Bola Adesope. I post a lot of resources, I write articles, I have some videos. Um, um, on Instagram and on LinkedIn, ABC Coaching 90 Seconds, where I answer a few questions in 90 seconds with folks.
Yeah, those are awesome, and as you can see, folks, Bola is a high energy, very positive, enthusiastic guy. So such a positive influence, right? So make sure you follow him on Instagram as well. So look him up. His name is right there on the screen. So make sure you look him up and follow him, and also connect with him on LinkedIn. A great person to be connected with. Bola, if you're okay on time, do you have a few minutes for some questions from the viewers?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, appreciate that, Bola. So let me just look here for some questions, and if you have any questions, folks, feel free to put it in the comments. So Hemant here asks, how to incorporate Scrum or Agile in data science. I'm a Power BI developer and wondering how I can use the Scrum mindset in my day to day. Any thoughts on that, Bola?
Great. So the Scrum mindset says, one, start from where you are with what you know and where you have and what you have. Where you are, what you know with what you have. Don't wait till you have everything figured out before you start. Secondly, always consider what is of value to the users, to the stakeholders, to the business. Three, experiment. Try new things. It's from experimentation that we learn. So as a Power BI, as a Power BI developer, continuously improve on the value that you're delivering to the people that consume your work. Also, always know that you don't have to wait for everything to be ready before you can start delivering. Thirdly, deliver value in small incremental frame.
Got it. Excellent advice there, Bola. I appreciate that. Hemant, hope that helps in terms of your question. We have a question here from someone, Bola, and they wanted to know: can you share your experience of applying Scrum to domain outside of IT? Any examples of that, Bola? You can share.
Yeah, sure, I can. So I remember I worked on a project, and it was a very interesting project. It was implementing a loyalty initiative for an organization in the banking sector. Just a loyalty initiative. They had two objectives. They wanted to, one, get customer stickiness, and two, new client acquisition. Those were the two objectives. The people that were with them, they wanted them to continue to stay with them. And then the people that were not with them, they wanted to attract them.
Right.
So they initiated a project called the Loyalty Initiative Project. And based on what Scrum is, we had iterations. So the first 2 weeks, we decided on what we want to achieve based on two things. Based on one, what is of value to the customers or to the users? And then secondly, what are the dependencies and the level of difficulty for those things? So the first 1 month, we identified just 3 things that we think will add the most value to the users or to the customers. We implemented those things. We delivered them to the customers. We got their feedback. And based on their feedback, we went on for another 1 month and we implemented the feedback and new things that they wanted. This had nothing to do with IT. And then we continuously, after every 1 month or 2 months, we were continuously adding new things to the loyalty initiative. That's non-IT.
Got it. A great example there, Bola. I appreciate that. So sometimes it doesn't show the name of the person, but whoever asked the question, hope that was helpful and insightful. We have a question from Magwesh who asks, in an ideal environment situation where the dev team and product owner perform their duties with utmost perfection, how does a Scrum Master add value to this situation?
Great. So they are already performing to perfection. Although I don't believe there is perfection in
Yeah.
work, they're already performing to perfection. Great. There's something called there's always room for improvement. What are the other ways, or what are the other things that they can add to improve their perfection?
Mhm.
That's on one hand. On the other hand, if you think there's nothing else that they can start doing, which I doubt, the next thing is who are the teams that these guys interact with? Are they also already adopting and practicing and using and delivering agile the way it should be? If they're not, then the Scrum Master's role is to then move to the next
Mhm.
thing. But I actually don't believe that a team can continue to operate in a state where they don't need improvement. The new things, try new things, help them to try new things. There's
Mhm.
something called shuari. You master, you master a practice, you learn a practice, how you master the practice, and then you break the practice. Now we've perfected this. What are the things that we can improve on?
Mhm.
So that will be the role of the Scrum Master. Constantly, continuously improving the way the team works and the value that they deliver. Try new practice. Try
Awesome.
peer programming, for example.
Mhm.
Try new things. Always get them to try new things to improve.
Excellent, fantastic, Bola. Thanks so much, Mugwish. Hope that answers your question. I think it made perfect sense from my end. So, hope that answers your question. We have another question here, and it's Hi, Bola. Do you mean that in Scrum there is no project manager who manages the entire project in this framework?
This is a very good question, and I will respond to that by saying Scrum
Mhm.
has just three roles. Um, the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the development team. Also, the responsibility for managing the entire product is shared across these three roles.
Mhm.
So when an organization is operating as adopted Scrum, you will not hear the title project manager. But the function that a project manager performs has been spread across those roles.
Got it. Got it. Excellent. Makes perfect sense, Bola. So, and hope that answers your question. Thanks so much for the question. We'll take one more question, folks. I want to be respective of Bola's time. I know he's a very busy guy and he's given us a lot of time already. But we have a question here, Bola, and a few actually, I guess, junior level people have asked this, and that is, Simon's asking, how can a fresh Scrum Master gain experience? Every entry level role asks for 2 to 3 years experience.
Yes, I know. I know. And this is a question that I get asked a lot. And the truth is, organizations have reasons why they have 2 3 years experience, and you don't expect someone who just started to have that experience. So how do you address that? I know there's some organizations that provide internship platform. I know Career Edge. I
Mhm.
also know that there are some organizations that have community of practice in their organization where they're growing the practice of Scrum and Agile, and where they're also helping to develop Scrum Masters. I think one thing that you can do is look for such organizations.
Mhm.
Or if you're in an organization where they already practice Scrum, one thing that you want to do is start shadowing, start understudying the Scrum Master in that organization. By doing that, you start gaining Scrum Master experience. in my organization, I have some guy who is really interested in Scrum, and he spoke to my VP that, oh, you know what, I really like this, I want to get into it, and I bring the guy into all of our ceremonies. He started shadowing me, and at the end, at times, I ask him questions. So, did you see what I did? Is there anything that you would have done better if you were the one? How would you get on this?
Right.
So this is some of the ways I think you can gain those experiences as a Scrum Master, as a fresh Scrum Master.
Okay, got it. I mean, great advice there, Bola. I appreciate that, Simon. I hope that helps, and all the best to you in your journey to towards being a Scrum Master. So, with that being said, folks, I'm gonna wrap this up. Bola, thank you so much for your time. Just wanted to share some positive feedback from the viewers. We have Io saying, "Nice hanging out with you. Fantastic one. Keep it up and scrum on." I like that. Scrum on. Scrum
Cool
on,
stuff,
right?
man. Cool stuff.
We got Taiwo saying, "Amazing. Thanks a lot, Bola and Dean." Thanks for
Absolutely.
tuning in, Taiwo. We got Obi saying, "Thank you, Bola, for sharing your thoughts."
Always.
Uh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's yeah. So and folks, let us know in the comments. Yeah, and make sure you thank Bola for his time. He's a obviously very friendly, very approachable person. So make sure you connect with Bola. And Bola, you're okay with people connecting with you on LinkedIn, I guess.
Absolutely. I
You're
love
fine with
to
it, right?
connect. I love to support, just like Dean, I love to support new guys. I love to support professionals in advancing their career and business. So always connect.
Awesome. Sounds good, Bola. And folks, thank you so much for all of you tuning in. If you didn't get to catch the whole episode, the replay will be up after this session ends. So feel free to watch the replay. And later this afternoon, I will upload it to my YouTube, as well as, if you prefer audio, I'll upload it to my Anchor account, which is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. So make sure you check it out. And I'll definitely would love to have you back on the show to talk about other topics as well, Bola, in the future. And
Absolutely.
and make sure, folks, you check out Bola's organization. For more information on how to get involved, I put it back on the screen right there. H.O.P.S Global, great organization to be a part of and connect with. Thanks so much, Bola. Really appreciate your time. Really fantastic collaborating with you again. I look forward to much more future collaborations as well. And to all the viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, and hope everyone got so much value out of it. Thanks so much, everyone. And thanks, Bola. Have a good day.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye.
Yeah.